Have you ever felt stuck in the same place while others seem to move forward effortlessly? You're working hard, trying your best, yet somehow life isn't changing the way you want it to. Here's the truth most people never realize: the problem isn't your effort, it's your strategy. You're playing by rules that keep you exactly where you are. While you're explaining yourself to everyone, waiting to feel ready, and reacting to everything instantly, a small group of people is operating by completely different principles. And those principles are transforming their lives. Today, I'm going to show you 11 Stoic strategies that will level up your life completely. These aren't motivational tips. These aren't temporary hacks. These are fundamental operating principles that the Stoics used to build unshakable character and extraordinary lives. And pay close attention to strategy number 8, because when you apply it correctly, opportunities will start appearing that you never saw before. The Stoics didn't wait for perfect conditions. Marcus Aurelius transformed himself while ruling an empire in crisis. Epictetus built wisdom while enslaved. Seneca created philosophy while navigating deadly politics. They didn't have easier lives than you. They had better strategies. And those strategies made them legendary. While most people stay stuck in mediocrity, waiting for motivation, seeking approval, and reacting emotionally to everything, you can implement different strategies. You can level up systematically using principles that have worked for over 2,000 years. If you master these 11 strategies, you won't recognize your life in 6 months. Before we begin, go to the comments and write, "I level up with Stoic strategies. I am unshakable." Don't skip any of these strategies, especially the last one, which makes you immune to the attacks that destroy most people. If you find value in this video, I encourage you to like, subscribe, and activate notifications. Let's begin. Strategy 1. Stop explaining yourself. The first Stoic strategy to level up your life is to stop explaining yourself to people who don't need to understand. You owe clarity to your mission, not justification to everyone who questions it. Every minute you spend explaining your choices to the wrong people is a minute stolen from executing those choices. Most people are trapped in an endless cycle of justification. They make a decision, then spend hours explaining it to family, friends, co-workers, even strangers on the internet. They seek approval before taking action. They need validation before moving forward. This constant explanation isn't communication. It's weakness disguised as consideration. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." He understood that explanation dilutes action. When you're constantly justifying your path, you're not walking it. You're standing still, trying to convince others you should be allowed to move. Think about how much energy you waste explaining. Why are you starting that business? Why are you ending that relationship? Why are you changing careers? Why are you pursuing that goal? Every explanation is energy that could be directed toward actually doing the thing you're explaining. Epictetus taught, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. This is radical wisdom. Your transformation will look foolish to people who aren't transforming. Your discipline will seem extreme to people who are comfortable. Your choices will appear wrong to people making different choices. Stop trying to make them understand. Here's what most people don't realize. The people who demand explanations are rarely the people whose opinions matter. Those who truly understand your vision don't need lengthy justifications. Those who don't understand won't understand no matter how much you explain. You're wasting your breath on people who either already get it or never will. Seneca wrote, "It's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." How much of your life have you wasted explaining yourself? Defending your dreams? Justifying your standards? All that time could have been spent building what you were explaining. Here's the strategy. When someone questions your path, give them one simple response. If you feel like giving any response at all, This is the direction I've chosen. That's it. No lengthy justification. No desperate defense. Just a clear statement. Then move forward regardless of their reaction. You'll notice something powerful immediately. Some people will respect you more. They'll see someone who knows their path and doesn't need permission to walk it. Others will be frustrated. They wanted the satisfaction of changing your mind or the entertainment of watching you doubt yourself. Deny them both. This strategy isn't about being rude or closed off. It's about protecting your energy and maintaining your momentum. You can listen to advice from people you respect. You can consider perspectives that might improve your approach. But you stop explaining yourself to everyone who thinks they deserve an explanation. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, yet wrote, "I have often wondered how it is that every man loves himself more than all the rest of men, but yet sets less value on his own opinion of himself than on the opinion of others." Stop making this mistake. Your clarity about your path is more valuable than anyone's approval of it. Here's your practice. For the next week, notice every time you start explaining yourself. Catch yourself mid-justification. Ask, does this person need this explanation, or am I seeking their approval? If it's the latter, stop talking. State your decision simply and move forward. You'll feel uncomfortable at first. You're conditioned to seek approval, but as you practice this strategy, you'll feel something else. Freedom. Freedom from the need to justify. Freedom from the fear of judgment. Freedom to move at full speed toward your goals without constantly stopping to explain yourself. If you're ready to stop explaining and start executing, write in the comments, "I owe clarity to my mission, not justification to everyone." Because the moment you stop explaining yourself is the moment you start transforming your life. Strategy 2, reduce your circle. The second Stoic strategy to level up your life is to deliberately reduce your circle. Fewer people, less noise, more focus. Most people are drowning in a sea of mediocre relationships that drain their energy without adding value. Your circle should be small, intentional, and powerful. Look at your current relationships honestly. How many people in your life actively support your growth? How many challenges do you have to be better? How many celebrate your wins without jealousy? Now count how many drain your energy, distract you from your goals, and pull you back toward comfortable mediocrity. The second number is almost always larger. Epictetus taught, keep company with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. Notice what he didn't say. He didn't say, keep company with everyone. He didn't say, maintain relationships out of obligation. He said, choose people who make you better. This is strategic, not cruel. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the Roman Empire, kept a small circle of trusted advisors and philosophers. He could have surrounded himself with thousands seeking his favor. Instead, he chose few relationships of depth over many relationships of convenience. He understood that quality of company determines quality of character. Here's the truth about large circles. They're exhausting. You spend enormous energy managing relationships that give you nothing in return. You attend social obligations that bore you. You maintain friendships out of history rather than current value. Meanwhile, your energy for your actual goals depletes. Seneca wrote, associate with people who are likely to improve you. Welcome those whom you are capable of improving. The process is mutual. Real relationships are bi-directional growth engines. Both people become better. But most relationships aren't this. Most are one person giving while another takes, or both people enabling each other's worst patterns. Here's your strategy. Audit your relationships ruthlessly. Create 3 categories. Energy givers, people who inspire you, challenge you, support your growth. Energy neutral, people who neither help nor harm significantly. Energy vampires, people who consistently drain you, distract you, or pull you backward. Invest deeply in the first group. These are your people. Spend real time with them. Be vulnerable, grow together. Be polite, but distant with the second group. Maintain surface-level connection if needed, but don't invest deeply and eliminate the third group completely. No guilt, no lengthy explanations, just gradual or immediate distance depending on the situation. Most people resist this strategy because they fear being alone. But here's what they don't understand. Being alone is far better than being surrounded by the wrong people. Solitude with purpose beats social exhaustion every time. And when you create space by removing the wrong people, the right people appear. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." But your thoughts are heavily influenced by the people around you. Spend time with complainers, you'll complain. Spend time with victims, you'll find reasons to be victimized. Spend time with winners, you'll find ways to win. Here's what happens when you reduce your circle. First, you'll feel guilty. You're conditioned to maintain relationships regardless of their impact. Push through this guilt. It's programming, not wisdom. Second, you'll feel lonely temporarily. You've created space that isn't filled yet. This is uncomfortable but necessary. Third, you'll feel free. Suddenly you have energy you didn't know you were missing. Time you didn't know you had. Focus that was impossible before. Epictetus was ruthless about his associations. He taught emperors but kept his circle small. He understood that influence isn't about quantity of relationships, but quality of character, which is built through selective association. Here's your practice. This week, identify 3 energy vampires in your life. People who consistently drain you without reciprocal value. Begin creating distance. Decline invitations. Respond less frequently. Be kind but firm in your boundaries. Watch how much energy returns to you. Then identify one energy giver you've been neglecting. Someone who makes you better, but you haven't invested in it properly. Reach out. Spend quality time. Deepen that relationship. Notice how energizing it is compared to the relationships you're phasing out. You don't need 100 friends. You don't need to be popular. You need 5 people who challenge you to excellence and support you through struggle. Find those 5. Eliminate the rest. This isn't being antisocial. This is being strategic about the most important factor in your development. Who you become is largely determined by who you're with. If you're ready to reduce your circle strategically, write in the comments fewer people, less noise, more focus. Because your circle should be a growth engine, not an energy drain. Strategy 3. Act before you feel ready. The third Stoic strategy to level up your life is to act before you feel ready. The Stoic moves on principle, not mood. Most people wait for confidence, motivation, or perfect conditions before taking action. They'll be waiting forever. Action creates readiness. Readiness doesn't create action. Look at everything you've delayed in your life. Starting that business, having that difficult conversation, making that career change, pursuing that goal. In almost every case, you delayed because you didn't feel ready. You waited for more knowledge, more resources, more confidence. But here's the truth. You'll never feel completely ready for significant action. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do every act of your life as though it were the very last act of your life." He didn't write wait until you feel ready to act. He understood that waiting for readiness is waiting forever. The time to act is now, regardless of how you feel. Think about this logically. How do you become ready? Through experience. How do you get experience? Through action. So waiting to feel ready before acting means you'll never get the experience that creates readiness. It's a trap that keeps you stuck forever. Epictetus taught, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Notice the order. Decide who you'll be, then do what that person would do, not feel ready to be that person. Don't wait until you're confident. Just act as that person acts right now. Here's what most people miss. Confidence follows action. It doesn't precede it. You don't feel confident, then act. You act, get results, then feel confident. But you have to take the first action while completely uncertain. That's the price of growth. Seneca faced exile, the ultimate disruption. He didn't wait to feel ready to handle it. He acted immediately according to his principles. He wrote, "Begin at once to live and count each separate day as a separate life. Not begin when you feel ready. Begin now. Here's your strategy. Identify one significant action you've been delaying because you don't feel ready. Starting that project, making that call, having that conversation, applying for that opportunity. Whatever it is, commit to taking action within the next 40 to 8 hours, regardless of how you feel. You'll experience fear. That's normal. You'll doubt yourself. That's expected. You'll want to delay again. That's the trap trying to keep you stuck. Act anyway. The Stoic acts on principle, not on feeling. Your principle is growth. That principle demands action even when you feel unprepared. Marcus Aurelius didn't feel ready to be emperor at 29. He did it anyway. Epictetus didn't feel ready to teach philosophy. He did it anyway. Seneca didn't feel ready for exile. He handled it anyway. They moved on principle. Do what must be done when it must be done. Feelings aside. Here's what changes when you adopt this strategy. You stop waiting for perfect conditions that never come. You build momentum through consistent action. You develop real confidence through accumulated experience. You lap everyone who's still waiting to feel ready. Think of it like jumping into cold water. You can stand at the edge feeling the temperature, psyching yourself up, waiting to feel ready. Or you can jump immediately and adjust while swimming. The second approach gets you swimming faster. Same with life. Here's your practice. Create a 48-hour rule. When you identify something important you need to do, you must take at least the first step within 48 hours. Not complete it necessarily. Just start. Send the email. Make the call. Write the first paragraph. Take action before the feeling of unreadiness convinces you to delay. You'll notice something powerful. Most things you feared aren't as difficult as you imagined. The anticipation was worse than the action, and even when things are hard, you're capable of handling them. You were always ready. You just didn't feel ready. There's a massive difference. Epictetus said no great thing is created suddenly, but nothing is created at all if you wait for perfect readiness. Start imperfectly, act uncertainly. Move forward, afraid. That's how every great thing begins. If you're ready to act before you feel ready, write in the comments, "I move on principle, not mood." Because waiting for readiness is the strategy of people who never level up. Strategy 4. Build a private code of honor. The fourth Stoic strategy to level up your life is to build a private code of honor. Your standards matter more than rules imposed by others. Most people live by default rules, society's expectations, their family's traditions, their culture's norms. They never consciously decide what they stand for. You must be different. A code of honor is your personal operating system. It's the set of principles you will not violate regardless of circumstances, not because someone told you to follow them, because you've decided they define who you are. This code is private because it's for you, not for external validation. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life." It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. Your way of thinking is shaped by your code. If you have no code, you have no consistent way of thinking. You're blown by every wind of circumstance and opinion. Think about the people you most respect. What makes you respect them? Consistency, integrity, principles they won't compromise. They have a code even if they never articulated it explicitly. You can predict how they'll act because they're governed by something internal, not by external pressure. Epictetus taught, if you would be a reader, read. If a writer, write. Applied broadly, if you would be honorable, define honor for yourself. Not what others call honorable. What you call honorable. Then live by that definition without exception. Here's why most people don't have a code. It's easier to be flexible, to adjust your standards based on what's convenient, to be one person in this situation and another person in that situation. But this flexibility is a weakness disguised as adaptability. You're not adapting, you're just lacking conviction. Seneca had a clear code. He valued wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control above all else. When forced to compromise these values or die, he chose death. That's an uncompromising code. You probably won't face that choice. But having a code you'd theoretically die for means you'll definitely live for it. Here's your strategy. Create your personal code of honor. Start with 3 to 5 core principles. Not 50, not vague aspirations. 3 to 5 specific standards you will never violate. Examples: I keep my word regardless of cost. I act with courage even when afraid. I treat others with respect even when disrespected. I do the work even when no one's watching. Write these down, physically, on paper. These are your laws, not society's laws, not your family's rules, your code. Then comes the hard part, living by it without exception. Every time you face a choice, you ask, what does my code require? Then you do that, regardless of how you feel or what's convenient. Marcus Aurelius carried his personal writings everywhere. His meditations were his code made visible. Every day he reminded himself of his principles. He didn't trust memory or mood. He reinforced his code constantly through written reminders. Here's what happens when you build and follow a private code. First, decisions become easier. You're not making a new choice every time. You're applying your code. Second, you develop unshakable self-respect. You're not perfect, but you're consistent with your own standards. Third, others respect you even when they disagree with you because consistency commands respect. Your code will be tested. Someone will offer you a shortcut that violates it. A situation will arise where breaking your code seems advantageous. These tests are where your code proves its worth. When you uphold your principles at cost, you strengthen your character permanently. Epictetus said, don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. Your code is your philosophy. Stop talking about what you believe in. Show it through unwavering action. Let your code be visible through your behavior, not your words. Here's your practice. This week, write your code. 3 to 5 non-negotiable principles. Then identify one upcoming situation where your code will be tested. Decide now how you'll act. When the moment comes, follow your code regardless of what you feel or what others think. You'll notice something powerful. Following your code feels uncomfortable sometimes, but never wrong. Breaking it feels comfortable sometimes, but always wrong. This distinction is your guide. Your code is your compass. As long as you follow it, you can't be lost. If you're ready to build your private code of honor, write in the comments, my standards matter more than imposed rules. Because people without codes are blown by every wind. People with codes are unmovable. Strategy 5. Train your attention. The 5th Stoic strategy to level up your life is to train your attention deliberately. What you focus on shapes your character. Most people let their attention be captured by whatever is loudest, brightest, or most immediately gratifying. They're not directing their attention, they're surrendering it. This makes transformation impossible. Your attention is your most valuable resource, more valuable than time, more valuable than money. Because where your attention goes, your energy flows. And where your energy flows, your life grows. If your attention is scattered across social media, drama, and distraction, that's where your life develops. If your attention is focused on growth, learning, and meaningful work, that's where your life develops. Marcus Aurelius wrote, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. But the quality of your thoughts depends on the quality of your attention. If you're constantly consuming garbage, your thoughts will be garbage. If you're constantly focusing on growth, your thoughts will be constructive. Look at where your attention actually goes on a typical day. How many hours on social media? How many hours watching content that doesn't improve you? How many hours thinking about problems you can't solve or people who don't matter? Now count the hours focusing on your goals, your development, your meaningful work. The ratio reveals why you're not where you want to be. Epictetus taught what you focus on expands. Simple but profound. Focus on problems, they expand. Focus on opportunities, they expand. Focus on your weaknesses, they dominate you. Focus on your strengths, they multiply. Your attention is literally creating your reality. Here's what most people miss. Your attention has been hijacked by systems designed to capture it. Social media platforms, news cycles, entertainment industries, all optimized to grab your attention and hold it hostage. You think you're choosing what to focus on. Often you're not. You're reacting to what's designed to capture you. Seneca understood this danger 2,000 years ago. He wrote, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." When your attention is scattered everywhere, you're making progress nowhere. Focus is force. Scattered attention is wasted energy. Here's your strategy. Audit your attention brutally. Track what you actually focus on for 1 week. Write down every time your attention shifts and where it goes. You'll be shocked. Most people discover they're giving hours daily to things they don't value while giving minutes to things they claim are priorities. Once you know where your attention goes, protect it ruthlessly. Create attention boundaries. Specific times for checking messages. Specific times for social media if you use it at all. Specific times for consuming content. Outside those times, your attention belongs to your priorities, not to whoever can grab it. Marcus Aurelius practiced directing his attention constantly. He would start each day deciding what deserved his focus. He would end each day reviewing where his attention actually went. This constant monitoring made him master of his mind instead of slave to distraction. Here's what changes when you train your attention. First, you get more done. Focused attention creates exponential results compared to scattered attention. Second, you feel calmer. Constant attention switching creates anxiety. Sustained attention creates flow. Third, you become who you want to be faster because you're consistently focusing on growth instead of distraction. Think of attention like a muscle. Untrained, it's weak and easily distracted. Trained, it's strong and sustainable. You train it through practice. Choose a focus. Sustain it. Notice when it wanders. Bring it back. Repeat thousands of times. Eventually, your attention becomes powerful. Here's your practice. Choose 1 hour today for deep focus on your most important work. Turn off notifications. Close unnecessary tabs. Put your phone in another room. Focus on one thing for 60 minutes. When your attention wanders, bring it back without judgment. Just return to your chosen focus. You'll find this difficult at first. Your attention has been trained to scatter. But if you practice this daily, your attention strengthens. 60 minutes of deep focus becomes easy. Then 90 minutes. Then 2 hours. You develop the ability to focus at will, which is the most valuable skill in the modern world. Epictetus said, "Don't let the force of an impression, when it first hits you, knock you off your feet." Applied to attention, don't let every notification, thought, or distraction knock your attention off course. Train your attention to stay where you direct it. If you're ready to train your attention, write in the comments what I focus on shapes my character, because scattered attention creates scattered results. Trained attention creates transformation. Strategy 6. Delay reaction by default. The sixth Stoic strategy to level up your life is to delay your reactions by default. Pause is power. Most mistakes happen instantly. When something triggers you emotionally, your automatic reaction is almost never your best response. The person who can pause between stimulus and response controls their entire life. Think about your biggest regrets, the words you wish you could take back, the decisions you wish you could reverse, the actions you wish you could undo. In almost every case, you reacted instantly. You felt something and immediately acted on that feeling. If you'd paused even for 30 seconds, you would have chosen differently. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. The power over your mind comes from the pause. Between what happens and how you respond, there's a space. In that space lies your freedom and your power. Most people are controlled by stimulus-response patterns. Something happens, they react automatically. No thought, no choice, just automatic reaction based on conditioning, emotion, or habit. They're not free, they're mechanistic, predictable, controlled by whatever triggers them. Epictetus taught it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. But you can't choose your reaction if you're reacting instantly. Instant reaction is not a choice, it's automation. True reaction, true response, requires the pause that creates space for conscious decision. Here's what the pause gives you. First, emotional regulation. That initial surge of anger, fear, or hurt peaks and begins to subside within 60 seconds. If you wait, you respond from logic instead of emotion. Second, perspective. In the pause, you can consider consequences, alternatives, and whether this deserves any reaction at all. Third, power. When others react instantly and you pause, you demonstrate superior control. Seneca understood this deeply. He wrote, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." Not just anger, all emotional reactions. The delay lets you choose rather than react. It transforms you from someone controlled by circumstances to someone who controls their response to circumstances. Here's your strategy. Create a default delay for all reactions. Someone insults you. Pause for 10 seconds before responding. Someone sends you an upsetting message. Wait 1 hour before replying. Someone presents you with an urgent decision. Ask for time to consider, even if just overnight. Make the pause automatic. You'll face resistance. Your ego wants to respond immediately. Your emotion wants to express itself right now. The situation seems to demand instant reaction. Pause anyway. Most things that seem urgent aren't. Most reactions that feel necessary later seem excessive or unnecessary. Marcus Aurelius practiced this constantly. He would often sleep on decisions. He would take long walks to consider problems before acting. He understood that the best decisions come from reflection, not from immediate reaction. His reign's success came largely from this practiced delay. Here's what happens when you adopt default delay. First, you make fewer mistakes. Most mistakes are instant reactions. Second, people respect you more. They see someone thoughtful rather than reactive. Third, you gain a reputation for wisdom because wisdom is often just patience to think before acting. Think about the most respected people you know. They're not the fastest to react. They're the most thoughtful. They consider. They pause. They respond with intention. This isn't slowness. This is power. While others waste energy on knee-jerk reactions they later regret, wise people conserve energy and respond optimally. Here's your practice. For the next week, implement the 10-second rule for emotional reactions. When you feel triggered, count to 10 silently before responding. During those 10 seconds, take 3 deep breaths. Ask yourself what response serves me best. Then choose consciously, rather than react automatically. You'll notice something remarkable. Most things that triggered instant reactions aren't worth any reaction after 10 seconds. The pause reveals that staying silent or responding mildly is often the best choice. You're no longer controlled by every stimulus. You're choosing your responses. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Mastery begins with the pause. When you can pause between trigger and reaction, you've mastered yourself. When you react instantly to every stimulus, you're a slave to circumstances. If you're ready to delay reactions by default, write in the comments, "Pause is power." Instant reaction is weakness. Because the space between stimulus and response is where your freedom lives. Strategy 7. Turn boredom into discipline. The seventh Stoic strategy to level up your life is to turn boredom into discipline. Do the boring work consistently. That's dominance. Most people quit not because the work is hard, but because it's boring. They can handle difficulty. They can't handle repetition. This is why they never achieve mastery. Think about what separates masters from amateurs. Masters do the same fundamental work thousands of times. Athletes practice the same movements repeatedly. Musicians play the same scales endlessly. Writers write every day, whether inspired or not. Masters embrace boring repetition because they know it builds excellence. Marcus Aurelius wrote the same principles over and over in his meditations. He didn't need to write them once. He needed to write them repeatedly. The repetition, the boring return to the same ideas, was how he internalized them. Boring practice creates permanent transformation. Look at what you've quit in your life: exercise programs, learning projects, business ventures, creative pursuits. If you're honest, you didn't quit because they were impossible. You quit because doing the same thing daily became boring. The excitement faded. The routine became tedious. So you stopped. Epictetus taught, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Applied to boredom, be content to do boring work while others seek excitement. They'll find excitement and stay mediocre. You'll find mastery through boring repetition. Here's the truth about boredom. It's not the work that's boring. It's your need for constant stimulation that makes focused repetition feel boring. You've trained yourself to need novelty, variety, excitement. This training makes sustained excellence impossible because excellence comes from doing the boring fundamentals consistently. Seneca understood that discipline, not inspiration, creates results. He wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Most people waste time avoiding boring work, seeking stimulating work, then wondering why they never build anything significant. Here's your strategy. Identify the boring work that would transform your life if done consistently. Writing daily, exercising daily, studying daily, practicing your craft daily, sales outreach daily. Whatever it is, it's probably boring. That's precisely why most people don't do it, and why doing it creates such an advantage. Now commit to doing that boring work every single day for 90 days. Not when you feel like it. Not when it's exciting. Every day, regardless of how boring it feels. This commitment is where you separate from 99% of people who can't handle consistent boring work. Marcus Aurelius did boring work every day as emperor. Reading reports, making administrative decisions, handling complaints. Much of the ruling was tedious, but he did it excellently because he understood that dominance comes from doing boring work when others are seeking excitement. Here's what changes when you embrace boring work. First, you build momentum that compounds. Boring work done daily creates exponential results over time. Second, you develop discipline that transfers. If you can do boring work consistently in one area, you can in any area. Third, you achieve mastery while others chase novelty and stay average. Think of boring work like compound interest. Each day's effort seems insignificant, but compounded over months and years, it creates extraordinary results. Most people want immediate, exciting results. You're building through boring consistency. In 1 year, your boring daily practice puts you so far ahead of those who quit that they can't catch up. Here's your practice. Choose one boring practice that would transform your life. Commit to doing it for 15 minutes daily for 90 days. Mark it on your calendar. Do it at the same time each day. When it feels boring, do it anyway. When you don't feel like it, do it anyway. This is discipline. You'll notice something powerful. The boring work stops feeling boring, not because it becomes exciting, because you've trained your mind to find satisfaction in consistency rather than novelty. You've reprogrammed yourself. Discipline has replaced the need for excitement. Epictetus said no great thing is created suddenly. Great things are created through boring repetition. While others seek exciting shortcuts, you're building through unsexy consistency. That's why you'll dominate while they're still searching for motivation. If you're ready to turn boredom into dominance, write in the comments, boring work done daily creates mastery, because excitement fades, but discipline compounds. Strategy 8. Make decisions in silence. The 8th Stoic strategy to level up your life is to make decisions in silence. Announce results, not intentions. Most people do the opposite. They announce their goals loudly, seeking validation and approval. Then they quietly fail to achieve them. You must reverse this pattern completely. Think about how many times you've announced intentions that never became reality. I'm starting a business. I'm getting in shape. I'm writing a book. I'm changing careers. You announced these goals, received encouragement or doubt. Then the goal either died or transformed into something different. The announcement killed it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." He didn't announce his philosophical practice. He practiced it privately and let his actions speak. His meditations were never meant for publication. They were private reflections. His decisions were made in silence. Here's why announcing intentions destroys them. First, you get a dopamine hit from the announcement itself. Your brain treats the announcement as partial accomplishment. You feel good, which reduces the drive to actually accomplish. Second, you invite opinions that create doubt. Others' skepticism or unwanted advice throws you off course. Third, you create pressure that makes authentic work impossible. You're now performing for an audience, rather than pursuing your genuine goal. Epictetus taught, first learn the meaning of what you say, and then speak. Applied to goals, first achieve what you intend to achieve, and then speak about it if speaking serves any purpose at all. Most announcements serve only your ego, not your progress. Look at truly successful people. They work quietly for years. Then suddenly they appear with results. The world sees overnight success. They know it was years of silent work. They made decisions privately, executed privately, and only announced when results were undeniable. Seneca understood the power of silence. He wrote, "What you do speaks so loudly that I cannot hear what you say." When you announce intentions, your words overshadow your lack of action. When you work in silence, your actions speak louder than any announcement could. Here's your strategy. Stop announcing intentions completely. When you decide to pursue something, tell no one except people who absolutely need to know for practical reasons. Not your friends, not your family, not social media. Work in silence. Build in silence. Fail and learn in silence. You'll feel uncomfortable. You're conditioned to share. You want validation, you want encouragement, you want accountability from external announcements. Resist all of this. Your validation comes from doing the work. Your encouragement comes from small wins. Your accountability comes from private commitment, not public announcement. Marcus Aurelius made massive decisions about the Roman Empire. He didn't announce his internal deliberations. He decided privately, acted decisively, and the empire saw the results. This is the pattern of power. Decide silently. Act deliberately. Let the results announce themselves. Here's what happens when you adopt this strategy. First, you maintain pure motivation. You're working for the goal itself, not for others' approval. Second, you avoid external interference. No one can talk you out of something they don't know about. Third, you develop internal resilience. Success or failure is between you and the work, not between you and an audience. Think about how liberating this is. No one's watching, no one's judging, no one's offering unsolicited advice. You're free to experiment, fail, adjust, without managing others' perceptions. This freedom accelerates growth immensely. Here's your practice. Choose one goal you're currently pursuing. Stop talking about it completely. Delete posts announcing it. Stop mentioning it in conversations. Just work on it quietly. After 90 days, assess your progress. You'll likely find you've accomplished more in silent execution than you ever did with public announcement. You'll notice something remarkable. People respect results far more than intentions. When you finally have something real to show, one person impressed by your results is worth 100 people who encouraged your intentions. Epictetus said, don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. Don't explain your goals. Achieve them. Then let your achievements speak. This is the way of the Stoic. Silent decision, persistent action, undeniable results. If you're ready to make decisions in silence, write in the comments I announce results, not intentions. Because intentions impress no one. Results transform everything. Strategy 9. Respect time like a currency. The 9th Stoic strategy to level up your life is to respect time like a currency. Every wasted hour is a choice against your future self. Most people treat time carelessly. They waste it on entertainment that doesn't fulfill them, on people who don't value them, on activities that don't serve their goals. Then they wonder why years pass without meaningful progress. Time is the only resource you can't earn more of. You can always make more money. You can always build more relationships. You can always gain more knowledge. But you can't create more time. Every hour that passes is gone permanently. This makes time infinitely more valuable than money, yet most people treat it as worthless. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." He was obsessed with this idea. He saw people squandering their precious hours on trivialities, then complaining they didn't have time for what mattered. He understood that time management is life management. Think about how you spent yesterday, hour by hour. How many hours were invested in your growth, your goals, your meaningful relationships? How many were wasted on scrolling, on low-value entertainment, on activities you wouldn't choose if you knew each hour cost you something irreplaceable? Because it does. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself constantly of his mortality. He wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This wasn't morbid. It was practical. When you remember that time is finite, you stop wasting it on what doesn't matter. Here's what most people miss. They think they'll have time later. They'll pursue that goal next year. They'll have that conversation eventually. They'll start living intentionally someday. But someday never comes. Later never arrives. Eventually, it is an illusion. You have now, and now is all you'll ever have. Epictetus taught, don't let the force of an impression, when it first hits, knock you off your feet. Applied to time, don't let the force of distraction knock you off course. Every interruption is trying to steal your time. Protect it like you'd protect money someone was trying to steal. Here's your strategy. Start treating time with the same seriousness you treat money. You wouldn't give away $50 to anyone who asked. Stop giving away 50 minutes to anything that doesn't serve you. You wouldn't invest money in something with no return. Stop investing time in activities with no meaningful return. Create a time budget just like a money budget. Allocate specific hours to specific priorities. Work, growth, relationships that matter. Health, rest. When something tries to pull you off your time budget, ask, would I pay money for this? If not, don't pay with time either. Marcus Aurelius was emperor, yet he jealously guarded his time. He had obligations, certainly, but within those obligations, he used every available moment for philosophy, reflection, and self-improvement. He didn't waste minutes because he understood minutes compound into a life. Here's what changes when you respect time like currency. First, you become ruthless about elimination. Activities that don't serve you get cut immediately. Second, you invest time in compound returns, learning, building, creating things that pay dividends for years. Third, You feel urgency about meaningful work because you recognize every hour spent elsewhere is gone forever. Think about this practically. You have roughly 16 waking hours daily. That's 112 hours weekly. If you waste just 2 hours daily on low-value activities, you've wasted 104 hours monthly. That's enough time to learn a new skill, build a side business, or transform your health. But most people waste more than 2 hours daily. Here's your practice. Track your time for 1 week like you'd track money. Write down every hour and how you spent it. Be brutally honest. At the end of the week, categorize each hour, high value, medium value, or low value. Calculate the percentages. You'll be shocked. Most people waste 30 to 50% of their time on low-value activities. That's 30 to 50 hours weekly that could transform their lives, but instead disappears into nothing. Once you see this clearly, you can't unsee it. You'll start protecting your time fiercely. Seneca wrote people are frugal in guarding their personal property, but as soon as it comes to squandering time, they are most wasteful of the one thing in which it is right to be stingy. Don't make this mistake. Be stingy with your time. Guard it. Invest it wisely. If you're ready to respect time like currency, write in the comments every hour is a choice for or against my future. Because time wasted is life wasted. Strategy 10. Choose long-term pain over short-term comfort. The 10th Stoic strategy to level up your life is to deliberately choose long-term pain over short-term comfort. Comfort weakens. Struggle sharpens. Every moment you choose easy now, you're making your future harder. Every moment you choose hard now, you're making your future easier. Most people operate on a simple algorithm. Avoid pain. Seek pleasure. Prefer comfort. This algorithm keeps them trapped in mediocrity forever, because everything valuable requires short-term discomfort to achieve. If you're not willing to be uncomfortable now, you're choosing a life of limitation. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What stands in the way becomes the way." He understood that difficulty isn't an obstacle to growth. It is growth. When you avoid difficulty by choosing comfort, you're avoiding the exact thing that would transform you. Think about every area of your life where you're stuck. Your health, your finances, your relationships, your skills. In every case, there's a hard path that would improve the situation and an easy path that maintains the status quo. Most people choose easy, then complain about their situation. Hard path for health: eat clean, exercise consistently, sleep properly. Easy path: eat whatever you want, skip workouts, stay up late. The easy path feels good daily. The hard path feels uncomfortable daily. But look at the long-term outcome. The easy path leads to declining health, low energy, and medical problems. A hard path leads to vitality, strength, longevity. Epictetus taught difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. He was right. But most people don't want a strong mind. They want a comfortable mind. So they avoid difficulty, and their mind stays weak, unable to handle real challenges when they inevitably appear. Here's the brutal truth. You're going to experience pain either way. You can experience the pain of discipline now, or the pain of regret later. The pain of working out, or the pain of poor health. The pain of difficult conversations, or the pain of broken relationships. The pain of learning, or the pain of ignorance. You don't get to avoid pain. You only get to choose which pain. Seneca understood this perfectly. He practiced voluntary discomfort regularly. Cold exposure, fasting, sleeping on hard surfaces. Why? Because he knew comfort makes you soft, and softness makes you vulnerable. When real hardship came, and it always does, he was prepared because he'd chosen difficulty voluntarily. Here's your strategy. In every decision, identify the comfortable choice and the difficult choice. Then choose difficulty deliberately, not because you're a masochist, because you understand that short-term difficulty creates long-term advantage while short-term comfort creates long-term disadvantage. Wake up early even though staying in bed feels good. Have a difficult conversation even though avoiding it feels easier. Do the hard work even though distraction feels comfortable. Eat healthy even though junk food tastes better. Choose discipline even though laziness is more comfortable. Marcus Aurelius could have lived in luxury and avoided responsibility. He chose the difficult path of ruling justly, which required constant hard decisions and sacrifice. That choice made him one of history's most respected leaders. The comfortable choice would have made him just another forgettable emperor. Here's what happens when you consistently choose long-term pain over short-term comfort. First, you build the capacity to handle anything. Difficulty doesn't scare you because you've chosen it repeatedly. Second, you create compounding advantages. Every hard choice now makes future choices easier and creates better outcomes. Third, you develop unshakable self-respect because you've proven to yourself repeatedly that you'll do what's hard when it matters. Think about this mathematically. Every easy choice you make costs you future opportunities. Every hard choice you make creates future opportunities. Over time, these choices compound. The person who consistently chooses comfort lives an increasingly limited life. The person who consistently chooses difficulty lives an increasingly expansive life. Here's your practice. Identify one area where you're consistently choosing comfort over difficulty. Maybe it's hitting the snooze button. Maybe it's avoiding difficult work. Maybe it's choosing convenient food over healthy food. For the next 30 days, choose difficulty in that area every single time. You'll hate it at first. Comfort is addictive, but around day 10 something shifts. The difficulty becomes normal. Around day 20 you start seeing results. By day 30 you've rewired yourself. The hard choice becomes automatic. You've upgraded your default setting from comfort seeking to excellence seeking. Epictetus said freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. True freedom requires choosing difficulty now, so you're not controlled by weakness, limitation, or regret later. If you're ready to choose long-term pain over short-term comfort, write in the comments comfort weakens, struggle sharpens. Because every easy choice you make today creates a harder life tomorrow. Strategy 11. Become hard to offend. The 11th and final Stoic strategy to level up your life is to become hard to offend. Offense is a choice. Mastery is freedom. Most people are controlled by their emotional reactions to others' words and actions. One insult ruins their day. One criticism destroys their confidence. One disrespectful act makes them spiral. This emotional fragility keeps them weak and controlled. Think about how much energy you've wasted being offended. Someone said something disrespectful. You spent hours or days upset about it. You replayed it mentally. You crafted responses. You told others about it. All that energy could have been directed toward your goals. Instead, you gave it to someone who doesn't matter because you chose to be offended. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed." This is radical wisdom. Offense isn't inflicted on you. It's something you choose to take. Someone can say something intended to offend. Whether you're actually offended is entirely your choice. Most people don't realize this. They think offense happens to them automatically. Someone insults them, they're offended. But this is false. There's a space between the insult and your reaction. In that space, you choose. You can choose offense, or you can choose indifference. Epictetus taught it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Someone's disrespect is what happens. Your offense or lack of offense is how you react. You have complete control over your reaction. When you become hard to offend, you've claimed that control. Here's why most people are easy to offend. Their self-worth is external. They need others' approval and respect to feel valuable. When someone disrespects them, it threatens their sense of worth. So they react with hurt and anger to protect their fragile self-concept. But when your self-worth is internal, based on your own standards and values, others' opinions become irrelevant. They can think you're wonderful or terrible. Either way, you remain the same person with the same worth. Their opinion is just their opinion. It has no power over your internal state. Seneca understood this completely. He faced constant political attacks, public insults, and eventually forced exile and death. Yet he remained unperturbed. He wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." He viewed offense not as injury, but as an opportunity to demonstrate his strength. Here's your strategy to become hard to offend. First, recognize that being offended is always your choice. No matter what someone says or does, you choose your emotional reaction. Second, remember that offense is usually about the other person's state, not about you. They're projecting their insecurity, pain, or weakness. Third, ask yourself, will this matter in 5 years? If not, it doesn't deserve your emotional energy now. Marcus Aurelius practiced a specific technique. When someone insulted or offended him, he would immediately ask, is what they said true? If yes, he'd thank them for the feedback and improve. If not, he'd dismiss it as their false opinion. Either way, no offense taken, just an evaluation. Here's what happens when you become hard to offend. First, people lose power over you. They can't manipulate you through criticism or insults. Second, you conserve massive energy. Energy previously wasted on being offended now goes toward productive work. Third, you earn respect. People respect those who can't be rattled by words. Think about the people you most respect. Are they easily offended? No. They're secure, centered, unshakable. Insults bounce off them. Criticism doesn't disturb them. They're focused on what matters, not on managing their emotional reactions to others' opinions. Here's your practice. For the next 30 days, refuse to be offended by anything. Someone insults you, choose to be unaffected. Someone disrespects you, choose indifference or calm response. Someone criticizes you, evaluate if it's true, then either improve or dismiss. You'll notice something remarkable. When you stop being offended, most offenses disappear. People stop trying because they get no reaction. And the few who continue reveal themselves as so insecure, they need your reaction to feel powerful. Denying them that reaction is the ultimate power move. Epictetus said, if someone speaks badly of you, consider whether what they say is true. If it is, correct yourself. If it isn't, laugh at them. This is the formula. True criticism gets gratitude and improvement. False criticism gets dismissed. In neither case does offense serve you. When you master this final strategy, you're truly free. You can't be controlled through emotional manipulation. You can't be thrown off course by critics. You can't be diminished by disrespect. You operate from an internal center that external forces cannot disturb. If you're ready to become hard to offend, write in the comments, offense is a choice. I choose freedom. Because the day you stop choosing to be offended is the day you become truly unstoppable. If you've made it this far, you now know the 11 Stoic strategies that will level up your life. Stop explaining yourself. Reduce your circle. Act before you feel ready. Build a private code of honor. Train your attention. Delay reaction by default. Turn boredom into discipline. Make decisions in silence. Respect time like currency. Choose long-term pain over short-term comfort. Become hard to offend. Now tell me in the comments, which strategy will you implement first? Maybe it's stopping explanations. Maybe it's reducing your circle. Maybe it's acting before readiness. Maybe it's building your code. Maybe it's training attention. Maybe it's delaying reactions. Maybe it's embracing boring work. Maybe it's working in silence. Maybe it's respecting time. Maybe it's the difficulty. Maybe it's becoming run-offendable. Write in the comments the strategy you're starting with. This focused approach will transform you faster than trying to implement all 11 simultaneously. One strategy mastered completely changes your life, more than 11 strategies applied partially. Remember, these aren't one-time actions. These are operating principles. You don't implement them once. You live by them consistently until they become who you are. Marcus Aurelius practiced these principles daily for decades. Epictetus taught them until his death. Seneca lived through every trial. You must do the same. In 90 days of practicing these strategies consistently, you won't recognize yourself. The person you're becoming through these Stoic principles is stronger, clearer, and more powerful than the person you are today. But it requires commitment. Not understanding, not agreement. Commitment to daily practice. I invite you to subscribe, activate notifications, and comment so YouTube recognizes this content is valuable. I sincerely thank you for your time and support. Tell me in the comments which strategy you're implementing first. I'd love to read your answers. I'll see you on our next journey.